What's up, everybody? Derek in the Midwest here with another video. And lately Alex Jones has been cozying up to Glenn Beck quite a bit, and he's doing it in a very sly, slick way. And what they're trying to do here is push the truth movement and the Patriot movement and the militia types together with the TEA Partiers and the regular Fox News watching Republicans, and get them all in a basket together, because they need all of those groups basically molded together into one group to make this next American Civil War scenario that they're pushing so hard for possible. And what I'll be doing here is showing you some clips of these recent activities and statements of Alex Jones, and then getting into the breakdown and analysis after each clip. Here we go.
Now, I've got all this incredible news, and I'm going to shoot a special video today that'll be up Sunday or Monday. And I've had brainstorm after brainstorm the last 2 days. I've written page after page of notes, and I'm not going to do it live here on air until Monday, but I'm going to put a video out on it this weekend. I've really had to do some soul searching about Glenn Beck.
You had to what, Alex?
I've really had to do some soul searching about Glenn Beck.
Why would you have to do soul searching about Glenn Beck? You've bitched about Glenn Beck constantly, about how Glenn Beck is a shill, and Glenn Beck is a shill. Not that you're not, Jones, we know you are, but you bitch about how Glenn Beck is a shill. So what's going on here?
I mean, Glenn Beck is a phenomenon, tens of millions of listeners, millions of viewers, and I've seen him do a lot of bad things, like supporting the Patriot Act, supporting the banker bailout, demonizing Ron Paul.
I was for the Patriot Act.
I think the bailout is the right thing to do. I believe so deeply in our Constitution. I was for the Patriot Act. The $700 billion that you're hearing about now is not only, I believe, necessary, it is also not nearly enough.
There was one guy last year that was Ron Paul. When you were on CNN, you would act like he was kind of crazy, kooky guy. And
I still act like he's crazy, kooky guy.
Well,
the Ron Paul Revolution. I think it's meant to be a catchy slogan, but I fear some of his fringe supporters are taking the word revolution too literally.
Hey, Glenn, real quick, how did you and your network benefit from associating Ron Paul supporters with domestic terrorism?
When you were escorted out after asking him your question, Glenn Beck stopped, turned to the crowd, and started applauding.
President Bush is a man who personally feels the pain of every lost soldier. I can tell you that the president has incredible passion and resolve.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, folks. I really never watched Glenn Beck. I would see YouTube boil downs of things he was doing that were terrible, and I would criticize him for it. But in the last few months, this is unprecedented. His show Wednesday on Fox TV and Thursday, nothing this truthful has ever been put out on national television. I mean, I'll just say that right now. Nothing this truthful has ever been put out on national television. I mean, I'll just say that right now. I mean, see, it's like Michael Savage. I give him credit for coming out in the last year and saying Obama will probably stage terror attacks in America. We can play those clips. You can just search him if you want. We've written articles about it. I disagree with Savage on some issues. I agree with him on most. The point is, when somebody has that type of courage, you've got to give him credit. And we've engaged in a deep analysis of what Glenn Beck is doing. And I have to say that if he continues on the trend, getting more hardcore every week, and we've been monitoring his radio as well, he will be Alex Jones hardcore within 1 year. And then if that ever happened, I'll never completely trust him like I do Ron Paul. Ron Paul was the same 30 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago, this week. I can never completely trust Glenn Beck. I can never completely trust him because I've seen so much doublespeak and treachery in the past. But I understand why a lot of our listeners and viewers are like, why are you saying he's bad, Alex? It's incredible. I mean, that's all I can say. And the biggest issue and message here is this. The fact that the things we talk about are now mainstream television. The things we talk about are now mainstream television. The things we talk about are now mainstream television. Shows how far as a society we've come. I mean, yesterday, Beck was talking about stuff we wrote about 2 years ago, dealing with the federal government admitting they're setting up world government. All right, I'm not getting into it today. I may a little bit later. It was just amazing. But big announcements over the weekend and next week. I'll give you my full view on it. In some other interesting news, Glenn Beck yesterday on Fox, and we're glad to see this happening. We've put out public messages to Beck saying, please stop denying that the government wants to put Americans in FEMA camps. He talked about how the government has put Americans in camps before and said it was a danger last night. He talked about world population reduction and how that's the world government's plan, and that he's going to expose it all week long next week. And he went over this report, Global Trends 2025, that we wrote no fewer than 7 articles on 2 years ago, where the Pentagon and the National Intelligence Council admits we're going into a planetary government. And Beck got up and said, look, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. The government is saying this themselves, but then Cass Sunstein comes out and says, you should be arrested if you talk about this. And he actually read Cass Sunstein quotes and said Cass Sunstein is a very dangerous man. In fact, the most dangerous in America. I don't agree with that. He's got bosses. But I'm just dumbfounded by what I'm seeing. But it shows why Fox has got top ratings and is growing, while both the NBC head and the CNN heads have quit today. Been fired, basically, been run out. Because they'll have one of their Bilderberg hosts on there telling you that there is no Bilderberg group, and then the next day telling you how great the Bilderberg group is. And so all of this stuff's out in the open. And so if the dinosaur media continues to lie about this and call people conspiracy theorists, they're going to lose what credibility they've got left, which isn't much. So Fox is very smart to take on some of the Patriot movement's political spots or colors to camouflage themselves. But this could be bigger. This could be an internal fight between the elite. There's a lot of nouveau riche, a lot of new wealth, a lot of new billionaires who are upset about what's going on. I've talked to some of them off record. A lot of the big money's leaving the U.S., realizes that this tyranny is so hardcore. They didn't mind tyranny and corporate welfare to get filthy rich, but now they realize this is a vertical integration and that they are open season as well. So this could be a complete paradigm shift within the establishment, realizing that they can't beat us, the Patriots join us. Again, I'm going to make a video about this today. It's going to be out this weekend. I'm going to make a big announcement next week, concerning my view on all this. I'm really, quite frankly, still cogitating on it.
All right, wait a minute. Alex Jones just said...
Again, I'm going to make a video about this today. It's going to be out this weekend. I'm going to make a big announcement next week, concerning my view on all this.
Now, does it sound like he's still cogitating or pondering this matter, or does it sound like Alex has things pretty well planned out?
Again, I'm going to make a video about this today. It's going to be out this weekend. I'm going to make a big announcement next week, concerning my view on all this. I'm really, quite frankly, still cogitating on it.
And here is another logical fallacy from Alex Jones. If Alex Jones were still cogitating on his big announcement, then he couldn't even announce yet that he has a big announcement because he doesn't know what it's going to be. This makes absolutely no sense.
But in the last 2 months, since I decided to make a film about the neocons and the liberals and how the whole left-right paradigm works, and looking at the co-opting of the TEA Parties, that I've really immersed myself in studying Glenn Beck. He's getting more hardcore every day. And at current rates, in less than a year, really, he will be as hardcore as Alex Jones if this continues. Fine. If that happens, I'll say, hey, he's great, like Ron Paul. He should come out and say, I was wrong when I was for the Patriot Act. I was wrong when I was for the banker bailouts. I was wrong when I said there wasn't a new world order. I was wrong when I made fun of people. And then we could even trust him, perhaps. I'll never completely trust him like I do Ron Paul. I can never completely trust Glenn Beck. And then we could even trust him, perhaps. I mean, it's incredible. But I'm going to make a whole video, a 15-minute press video release on the subject today. We'll shoot it today. Aaron will add documentation to it. Again, I don't trust these people as far as I can throw them, but the issue is they're coming out with hardcore truth. There's a global government. It wants to kill you. And then he's reading Cass Sunstein public quotes about we need to make conspiracy theories illegal or tax them. We know that most of the conspiracy theories are true, but even if they are true, we still say they're lies. I mean, and then Beck says, don't believe me, check it out for yourself. And then he goes on to talk about how we're rats in a rat maze with controlled choices. Hundreds of publications in the last year and a half kept saying Glenn Beck is riffing off of Alex Jones. Glenn Beck is copying Alex Jones. And even though I've got Nightline doing pieces on us, and even though I have higher internet ratings than Beck and Limbaugh combined, you can go look at those up at the Google Trends, or you can go look that up at Alexa. And so I thought, oh, the media is trying to demonize Beck by, saying I'm more of an extremist. And so they're claiming he's copying me. No, he really is. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. And I actually have this from two high-level people that work at Fox, and I was told this over a year ago and couldn't hardly believe it separately. And then I was told by another radio executive who knows Beck and knows his bodyguards, who were retired FBI agents, that Beck believes in the New World Order, is freaked out, is building a bunker, is scared, and watches my show, listens to it daily. So I want to say to Glenn Beck, I challenged you a few years ago when you were saying FEMA camps didn't exist, when we sent you all the evidence of it. I challenged you to not continue with what you were doing. I want to believe in Michael Savage. I want to believe in Rush Limbaugh. I want to believe in Glenn Beck. But I can't forget Sean Hannity saying all militias should be arrested. That's a quote. Every child in America needs an implantable microchip. That's a video quote. But why is Fox not just holding on to the ratings, but even growing with some of its programs? Because they at least will admit there's a world government. All over the European press, all over the foreign press, and even some of the U.S. publications admit there's a world government now, but they say it's a good thing. Now, the neocons and Republican host for decades said it didn't exist. They were the gatekeepers. It was the kook detector. If you talked about the CFR, you were a lunatic. Glenn Beck on Wednesday admitted that a member of British intelligence, Edward Mandell House, helped set up the Council on Foreign Relations and the Federal Reserve to take over this country. I mean, that's incredible. What is Fox News doing talking about that?
And it all goes back to Operation Mockingbird, which was started back in the 50s. And this is directly from a congressional hearing from the published report, and it says, quote, "The CIA currently maintains a network of several hundred individuals around the world who provide intelligence for the CIA and at times influence public opinion through the use of covert propaganda. Influence public opinion through the use of covert propaganda. Influence public opinion through the use of covert propaganda."
This is going to be good for my radio show, my websites. I'm literally producing, I had said 30-40% of Beck's show. Inadvertently, they take what I do and then change it, but use it word for word in many cases. That now what I talk about is going to be on Glenn Beck in 2-3 weeks. The guest we have on are going to be on in 2-3 weeks. Word for word, what I say is taken, changed slightly, and put out on his radio and TV show. It's amazing the responsibility I've got. And I've always said it's not about Alex Jones. All of us are leaders. We've got to take action. That's the power of my great audience. But I have to face up to the fact that I've got to go to the next level. I've got to be more professional. I've got to be more focused. Because, I mean, nobody's telling Alex Jones what to do. What does that say about my message and my perspective and my analysis of the New World Order? That the most powerful news network in the world, and I have this confirmed from people inside, but you can see it every night, takes what I do, the words everything. It's got to be 60% of what he says on the radio and TV is directly from this show. I mean, imagine if you were Alex Jones, and whatever you talk about, Glenn Beck has people literally taking and then putting out. This is unprecedented, what's being put on television. I mean, I'm literally on television every night through Glenn Beck. It's bizarre.